All right, got some more mail from Japan, from Yashi of 415 Mods. Should be the S91, which is a Genesis style RDTA or Genesis style atomizer. So let's get inside the box and take a look at it together. Now, I'm not sure when these are going to go into more massive production, but I think there's only been 30 released so far. But their website is 415mod.co. And that's where all the ordering takes place. He doesn't do any like quick strike stuff or Facebook exclusive or anything like that. Although you kind of do get information of when things are going to drop and kind of teasers and stuff at the 415 vape mods, all spelled out. 415 vape mods fit the Facebook group. But let's go ahead and open on up. Nice zippered bag. I think everything I've ordered or got from them so far has come in one of these really nice vinyl bags, the slide zipper. We get 415 mod logo, little sticker there. A battery wrap. Looks like it's for 18,650. And I got something else in the bag. Oh, nice. That's right. So he did tell me he was gonna send me something complimentary. So this is this little stubby 510 drip tip. He does all sorts of drip tips, but everything is made in-house. It's all in Japan. Made in Japan. And the machining, as usual, is just stellar. I mean, this is just a drip tip, but man. And these just little sleeves. That is interesting. That is neat. Okay, so how this works. So it's recessed a little. This piece sits in like a press fit. And then it just threads together. Super smooth threads. Like everything is, oh man, yeah. Okay, so that's just it. This won't come with it. This was something he sent along to me. Thank you for that, Yashi. I got this nice zippered bag, black and orange. So we got some spare screws and O-rings. And then here's the guy here. Let's get that opened up. And of course I got fingerprints all over it. I should have gloved up for this one. And let's see if this helps out. I'm gonna turn that light off there. So you're not seeing as much as the glare for my fingerprints. And this drip tip just threads off and on. Look at that. Man. Again, these are made in Japan. Just a 510 tip. Really tight affair. Let me take some measurements because this is the one that comes with it. but the atomizer should be 22 millimeters. But let's take some measurements here. So the drip tip it comes with, from base to tip, it's about a little over 14 millimeters, or what's going to be exposed above it. And then you got a very, it's got, what is it, just about 2.5. Let me zero that out. Let's make sure I'm getting that right. Very tight. 2.3 all the way through. So definitely your mouth to lung affair. But the machining is just incredible. Let's check out on this guy. This one from base to tip, what would be sticking up is just shy of 5 millimeters. And then the inside bore is 4.8 millimeters. I probably will end up using this one, but we'll see. And then without the drip tip, looking at 33.12, and diameter 20 millimeter. Let's take a look at the bottom. Look at that machining. Got number 20. Looks to be either a copper or gold plated 510 pin. And again, those fingerprints are mine. Need to grab a microfiber cloth. You got 3 airflow holes on the one side, and I believe right there 0.8, 1, and 1.2 millimeters. So definitely this is your mouth to lung affair. And then you got your Ultim section here. It does not look like this is squonkable. So I wonder if that will become a future option here. Let's get this taken the rest of the way apart. And this is designed for cotton or mesh. I am gonna attempt to do this with mesh, actually. Show you how I attempt to do that. Very tight tolerances on your O-rings. You'll definitely want to lube things up. But, and that machining is just incredible. Cap does lock into place, as you can see. Now they got that section off. Show you the insides. So you got this dual O-ring there, and then you have your airflow opening, just one airflow opening there, and all these fins. So this inner barrel, inner chamber. And with a single O-ring, and you have O-ringed plugs for your fill, for your fill. Very interesting why they. Oh, so yeah, this is how this is meant to go, as a vertical coil, and you wick through the center. But just look at that machining. So you have this super condensed chamber, airflow comes in to hit your coil there. Let's take some measurements on that too. So your chamber in here is just shy of 5 millimeters wide and 13.75 long. And then the airflow that's on the inside here is 2.7. Zero that out again. By 1.25. Look at the top there. Anti-heat core. This is titanium. And then your wick hole is 2.8, 2.85 in diameter, and then the fill holes are 3.55. And your space between the posts is 5.6. So with this being 2.7, so you're gonna want to stick to like a 2.5 millimeter wide coil or inner diameter coil. And then this sleeve here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take off or take out the 510 pin. And hold the top together. Again, the machining is just incredible. And there's no machine oil smell. There hasn't been any residue at all. Like, I'm kind of tempted to like not even put it through the cleaner like I usually would. So just a little short 510 pin there. It's like your insulator is 2 parts. Try not to damage anything. It's got your peak insulator, and it's O-ringed as well. I've got that insulator too. As we're seeing, there hasn't been any oil residue, nothing. And the attention to detail here. So to facilitate getting this out easier, if you look down just ever so slightly, there's just a little groove to get up under it. And this barrel is on there. Very tight tolerances. I am so glad that they use Ultim. I hope he does glass too. I don't see why he couldn't. But I am an Ultim fan. Like that I don't have to worry about what juices it is. I actually don't mind the look either. And some people are anti-Ultim color, but I like the properties of the material. So to an extent, I could care less what color it was. Very snug fit. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put some juice on that before I try to slide that back together. So just a second here while I get my juice. Okay, just getting back with my juice. Might as well show. I totally was out of frame for that. I just dripped some juice on the O-rings. That's all I did. Yep, that makes the world of difference. So I already showed that. Let's showed this too. Took some measurements. This is titanium or O-ringed. Yeah, it's O-ringed in there too. So if you wanted more airflow, it'll probably look slightly odd. But let's see. Nope. So you do have to use this guy here. We'll have to check out how that airflow works, because you have a larger hole here and the smaller holes, how they turn in. But let's get this put back together. And I will get some mesh wick prepared, show you guys how I do that. We're gonna keep it simple. I'm just gonna use some 26 gauge Canthal. So you can probably see in the top right corner. The attention to detail, oh my gosh, those threads are so smooth. Like there's no play side to side and they just smooth in and out. And you got the little ridges on the side too. So take those up a bit. Okay. Okay, we're just going to leave that there for now, and I am going to get some mesh prepared. So let's see. Sorry, excuse me. I want to do that. I was going to see if I could take a measurement on how long, and I can get a good estimate on how long of a strip of mesh I'm going to need. So about 21, 22 millimeters. It can be longer, of course, and trim off what I don't need. So let's get some mesh cut. This is just stainless steel mesh 400. And get my scissors. I'm going to get my build stand out of the way so I don't need to torch it. I just kind of cut off a section. I said I needed 20. So yeah, that's going to be more than enough. And this is just how I do mesh. That's kind of worked for me. So I'm actually going to grab my smaller Allen keys. And actually, we're going to do this first. I'm going to go ahead and torch this or oxidize this piece of mesh first before I roll it. Okay. And we'll go ahead and grab it over here. Get the spot that I missed. I had to burn my finger this time. Just a little bit of comic relief for you guys. Okay. Now, we'll get to rolling it. So we need to make sure it was, the center post, that hole is insulated. So, and because this will be oxidized and not conductive, it won't matter too much if we are touching the sides or where the wick is going to tuck into. But to tighten it, you just keep on rolling in the same direction. It'll get tighter. I'm just going to leave. This is like a 2mm Allen. I like to kind of use it as like I like to have the middle open, so kind of works as a straw. That's exactly what it's supposed to work like. We'll see how that fits up. Okay, so I'm going to try going tighter with it because it's not fitting. See if I can get it to fit that way. Just winding it tighter. Just keep on going in the same direction. It'll tighten up around whatever you have in there. And it'd go even more if I took out the Allen key. But as I said, I want to have that open channel in the middle, or that hole in the middle, to kind of work as a straw. And that is just going to fit. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about cutting the top right now. Now we need to, it's called quench the wick. So to do that, nope, I'm out of frame. To do that, you're going to grab some of the juice you intend to use, or any juice really, doesn't really matter. And then, oh, let me get the build stand out of the way first. just going to get this glowing red. You're just going to drip your juice on it. You see it sucks right in. And then you're going to torch it again. Some people just torch it, lights on fire, and let it go out itself, but I just torch it until it gets red hot again. And then we're going to drip our juice on it again. You see it sucks right into it. We're going to burn it off again. Usually we want to do this at least 3 times. So round 2. This just helps the, one, it oxidizes it so it's not conductive, so you don't have to worry about if it's touching the bottom of the tank or the sides. That takes the conductivity out of that mesh and helps it become a more effective wick too. As you see, look how it just, liquid just sucks right in there. And this is our last torch of it. And just to kind of help cool it down and everything, I just go ahead and suck with the juice again. So we're going to set that off for a little bit, just a moment here, and want to find out where we need to wrap this, because we're going to wrap the coil. First, now that's oxidized, it has swelled up a little bit. So I'm going to roll it a little bit tighter. We're going to gauge where we need to start our wrap with our wire along this, around it, because we're going to want to wrap this with our Allen key in here, and then we'll wrap our wire. I'm just turning with the existing direction of the wrap. Get it a little bit tighter. Okay. So I'm kind of hokey about this, but what I will do here, all right, just a second. Okay, so I know this is kind of unscientific way to do it, so kind of, but I got it all the way down, and I'm just gonna grab from the base with my tweezers. And then I'm just going to take my measurement. It's about 11 millimeters. You want to start your wrap. So I got that marked. Not marked, but I'm just kind of holding it where I need to start there. And I'm going to grab my wire. Some 26 gauge Canthal. You want some room there. And you're just gonna wrap. I'm gonna do 5 or 6 wraps. So, sorry about that if you're wearing headphones. Keep them spaced. We will be able to tidy it up just a little bit, because usually these are going to take some strumming, because you really don't want to have hot spots and dry hits with mesh. It's not a pleasurable experience. So we got them both off to either side. And give some extra length there. Just gonna drop it on there. Wrap it around there like so. Tighten our lead down. Not the best screwdriver for that, but that lead is tightened down. And same over here. I'm just going to leave those for the time being. And then I'm going to work on just straightening out these leads a little, or the wraps a little more. Getting some even spacing, and definitely take this guy out. And I'm also going to go ahead and snip this about flush with the top of the screw. Maybe a little bit taller is fine. And then this is long enough that I can use that for the next time I have to re-wick it. But mesh lasts a really long time. So we can use that again later. We put this back into round. Now you can also use this with cotton, and that's always an option. As you saw with how you can remove the barrel section, you can just wrap your coil, pull some cotton down through, access it from the bottom. That is totally an option as well. Right. So just making sure and get, I'd like the spacing to be even, but as long as they're spaced, that's going to help out. Make sure our leads are clear of grounding out against anything else. And then we're going to get our resistance reading. We do not need 60 watts, not at all. Oh. At this angle and the theme, so I'll have to adjust the theme to have more of a contrast. But we're going to do like 10 watts. And once we fire, it should recognize that there's a new coil and ask us to confirm the new resistance for that coil. So it's coming out to about 0.6364 ohms. I always want to make sure that the coil is glowing evenly. Let's see if I can, oh, it's that guy. See if I can do that without losing everything that's in the build stand. And if I can keep it in focus. So it's still burning off the juice, so we're not seeing it glow yet. Plus 0.6 ohms and 10 watts is not a lot of power for it. We're gonna bump that up to 20. Just gonna check my spacing again. See if I can even it up anymore. I'm just doing that more for aesthetics. I'm gonna have it reread the atomizer. So 0.7 now. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm getting a temp protect. And it shouldn't really be doing that. We'll put it at the Canthal setting. Drop that down. Okay. So it really shouldn't have jumped that much, but let's see, we got 26 gauge Canthal and we got 6 wraps, or it's like 6.5 wraps. So, yep, we're getting a hot spot at the bottom. So we can try doing this here. You can tell when that with the resistance going from it was at 0.7 and now it's showing 0.6. And it's Canthal, so we shouldn't really get jumping. It's going to kind of jiggle our mesh up and down a little bit, and kind of strum at our coil. Okay, so I'm getting a hot spot right at the bottom. Gonna lift it up a little bit. This is where mesh is just, it gets tedious. That's why many people give up on mesh. Cotton is a lot easier, but if you can get mesh done right, the lack of maintenance is quite nice. Still getting a hot spot at the bottom. So just trying to tease the wick and the coil. I may have to do some fast forward action on this while I get it sorted out. Let's see, sometimes this can make a difference with how long your lead is, or how being close to the post. I'm just trying to get this back in there. Okay. Mesh can be fickle, so we're just going to go on, wrap on the other side. That way we have less bare lead before it makes, like just bare exposed lead before it makes contact with the post or the post screw, if that makes any sense. Do the same over here. Again, cotton is way easier than mesh, but going big here. I get my spacing back again. It's all looking nice on the other side of it, nice and spaced, but it isn't on this side. Let's get that taken care of. Okay. Spacing's looking pretty good on both sides. Pretty even. Pretty as I'm gonna get it. We'll have it read it again. 0.81. That's looking better. $20 is going to be a bit for that reading. So we'll take it back down. 12 will be fine. I'm gonna have it read it again. Fluctuating again, 0.6 after I tried burning it. So this could indicate that I might be grounding out or oxidized somewhere, or not oxidized somewhere on the mesh, because with it being stainless steel as it changes temperature, the resistance does change. So that could be it. So I might be fiddling with this for a while. Hope you guys don't mind. There it is, back to 0.84. That's 6.5. Just fickle. Okay. I'll read again. 0.89. I'm not entirely sure why we're getting temper checked. Well, we have more than one spot we can test on this stand. And I really don't need to keep those leads that long any longer. So just in case, it shouldn't make a difference, but go ahead and snip these. I'll go ahead and spin this onto the other 5/10s. Not that it should make a difference, but we'll try it out anyway. Still getting this hot spot right at the base. Okay, we're gonna give it some juice. Give it some more power. If it's wicking right, you notice how we see the juice bubbling right out through the top. But I still want to make sure I don't have any hot spots. But it is wicking quite nicely. All right, we'll get another reading on it. 0.74. Right now I'm just making sure the reading is staying the same. So it didn't prompt again for the atomizer. So 0.70, it's reading less. This is how mesh will drive you nuts. Because it is wicking well, wicking very well. Okay, let's see how this behaves. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I got some juice on these guys. Make them easier to go in and out. So even though it's notched, I'm noticing here, seeing this now, point this out. So it does slide, so it does have a stop. From lowest, so let's see. And you want to make sure when you put your cap on, you're on the right side. So all the way to the right is going to be wide open, and then all the way to the left closed. Okay, let's get our drip tip on. I'm going to switch this back over to the Ultim. Oop. Don't want to lose that. Okay. Oh, come on. I got juicy fingers and working with tiny parts. There we go. Okay. So let's get this on a mod and go back up top. Okay, so we're up top with the S91 Genesis Atomizer by 415 Mods out of Japan, and I really like the look with this drip tip. We'll slap on the other one there just a second. Help if I grabbed it by the drip tip. See, the one that comes with it matches up nice, and this is definitely a mouth to lung that or very loose mouth to lung. You can get it very loose mouth to lung, but really it's mouth to lung. Coils come out at 0.6. It's I don't know what's up with that. It's all over the map. It's probably because I'm using mesh, but it's wicking and keeping up. I'm not getting any dry hits, so that's that's. Oh, you'd hear about it if I was getting dry hits, and because I'd be going back to the drawing board and probably just tossing mesh in there, or not mesh, but cotton in there. The draw is very smooth, very relaxed, very quiet. This is a very chill vape. I've never been a fan of high nicks or anything. I actually don't really care for a nicotine high at all. Flavors got me off tobacco, and flavors also satiates my my sweet tooth. Being on a ketogenic diet, flavors is my saving grace of keeping away from sugars and sweets and those type of carbs. So that's flavors has been dietarily beneficial, health beneficial, and keeping me off cigarettes beneficial. But I got the Country Crowd's cornbread pudding, and we got the mesh wick in there, and it is wicking away. The flavor is fantastic. Definitely do your long, slow pulls on this. But that's at its widest open. It's still, for me, it's definitely mouth to lung. I think for anyone that would be mouth to lung. It's 1.2 millimeters at its widest. I'm gonna kick it down to the 1 millimeter. And this is really like, I think this is 1.5, maybe 3 milligram nic. So, but I'm noticing that I can get, mesh does play a little bit of a part in that if I'm getting hot, and you'll definitely feel it in the throat. But this draw and how tight it is, I'm definitely feeling more in the throat. But it's like dead silent draw. So for scoring, I think what I'm going to start off with is just quality of machining. 5 out of 5 for just the quality of it. It came spotless. No burrs, no dings, no fingerprints, no machine oil, no nothing. Like, just immaculate. 5 out of 5 there. And nicely presented, not any extras, but yeah, presentation. Features. So it's a 20 millimeter Addy, so I do like that. A little bit smaller. Juice capacity, I need to double check, but it seems around the 3 milliliter capacity. I wish it had a squonk pin, to be honest. So features right there, just because it doesn't have a squonk pin, and I think that could be pretty easily remedied, honestly. Lack of squonk pin on that is going to drop the score, so that'll be 4 out of 5 for me. Build deck, or ease of build, so you can use mesh and you can use cotton. Of course, you guys saw that I used mesh, and mesh is fiddly. It doesn't really matter what your Addy is. Some people have it down pat. I haven't been using mesh for a long period of time, not since Genesis Addies really first came out. So this is kind of me revisiting it and what I remember. For RDTAs, I like using like the straw method, where you have stainless steel down into the tank, and then you just have a cotton wick on the top, and then the stainless steel mesh feeds the cotton. And I guess you could do that with this. That would be possible, but really it makes more sense with this one. I guess, yeah, that'd be another option too. Just have, rather than having the mesh go through the coil, just have the mesh stop at the deck, and then you would just have a tiny little cotton plug. And that's one way to do it. Sorry, 415, they also do they do cotton, what they call cotton mesh wicking, and it's kind of honestly looks like gauze, but that would be good stuff to try to roll up, put through. You can use regular cotton too. Perhaps I'll cut this short here, do that, and report back. But as it's performing with the mesh, even though I'm not a mesh pro, even though with how I did it, it's working. The resistance is kind of wonky, but I'm not getting any dry hits, and it's wicking perfectly. So for build deck, it is easy to build on. You probably want to stick with round wire on this guy, to be honest, but it's really easy to coil and wick. You can take the barrel off if you want to use cotton to pull it down, or you can fish it down, however you want to do that, but you can take the barrel off, pull it on through. Works really easy if you decide to do that method. So build deck, I can go with 4 out of 5 on there. You could, I mean, I guess you could try to use clappings and whatnot in this, but really how this is, it's a round wire guy, definitely for round wire. It is the other point I got a ding on the deck actually has to do with the filling method. So to fill it, this is why another reason I wish it was squonk. This might have to be its own scoring in itself. Yeah, I think there's the filling method and squonk features kind of go together. It's 4 out of 5. We're not having a squonk pin, but the filling too is, of course, the outer barrel comes off, and you have this titanium inner barrel that condenses the chamber, which really helps a lot with flavor. Also helps out with keeping the heat down, but to fill it, you have to remove that. And you got really generous sized holes there. And because it's a mouth to lung type vape, you're not going to be filling too often with a 3, especially if you're using like higher milligram, won't be hitting it as frequently. So I get why get that style. For me personally, just seeing that size airflow hole, it would have been possible to have more airflow on the cap, have like maybe another just one more option that it matches up the same size. But just my thoughts on that. But this is definitely catered for a mouth to lung. But it is a nice, keeps it cool vape. You can heat it up and still you can get a throat hit with it with this. Wasn't expecting and again, I don't really do mouth to lung all that often. But yeah, your higher milligram nick with this and that draw, it's a nice chill vape. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go back down and gonna get another coil wrapped up, 2.5 millimeter inner diameter, and use some cotton, or use some of the 415 cotton fiber mesh, in fact. So yeah, this will be a long one, but I'm gonna go back down. I wanna try that out. All right, here we go. About to just undo all that work I just had you guys sit through and watch. I guess not really undo. I'm just gonna take the coil and wick out together. Maybe I'll be able to use it again. But because I still have juice in there, I'm not going to be able to use the method of just removing that barrel to pull the... I'm not going to be able to use that method and remove the barrel to just pull the wick through. So we'll see how that goes with... We'll show that off. And it could have just been I just had that too wide. Could have been that, could have been this the whole thing all along is you need to tighten that coil up and not have it making any contact with the side of the hole. Okay, so we got our 2.5 millimeter rod here. Our 26 gauge Canthal. I just got 7 wraps. That's the little trick of once you got them wrapped tight, space them a little bit and then just stretch them out and push them down, and you should end up with some pretty even spacing. Get our screws back in. Do the same thing I did last time. Nope, come on. There we are. Okay. Well, that was unfortunate. Oh, I just totally dropped the screw inside the tank. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fish that out. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make a mess here. So I won't subject you guys to that. Okay, so I did manage to get the screw out of there, or fish the screw out of there. And in the process realized that no, you actually can't slide up the tank while it's assembled to pull wicks through the bottom. you can kind of like, if you already had a coil and everything in there, you could pop on the top cap, but that only plugs those holes in. So yeah, not really an option there. So just don't do something stupid like me and completely unthread the screws and then drop them down the holes. Okay. Of course, in my usual fashion, I am making things far more difficult than they need to be. Guess that's kind of why I'm the Peter Jackson of reviews. No, that's giving myself way too much credit. Forget I even said that. Okay. No, if I even managed to keep any of that in focus. Let's go ahead and get a reading on this coil. 0.83. Get it glowing nicely without completely deforming There we go. Glowing from the inside out. Let that cool down. I'm gonna use some of this here. This is the 415 cotton fiber mesh. Comes in these pads. They unravel a bit, which is what I'm gonna do. I want to get it down to a single layer. I'm kind of just going to cut and roll this. It's like the cotton equivalent of mesh. Except for we won't torch this ahead of time or anything like that. I think it actually is, yeah, that's 2 layers. this rolled. See how it fits. I might need to add more. We'll see. Nope, I think that's going to be just fine. Okay, just trying to pull this through. Oh. See, that's super loose in there. Just add some more. It's a little too thick now. Oh boy. I'm doing a bang up job on this guy. I'm not seeing any of it poke down. I know in an RDTA, typically, you don't even worry about tucking it down into the tank. But Genesis style can be a little bit different of a beast. And now it's only barely poking in there. It's a good thing my fingers are covered in the juice I'm vaping anyway. And there we go. Just kind of twisted it in there. Just gonna snip this just with the top of the screw. Set the piece aside for laters. And we'll get some wicking started. Okay. There we go. So 0.8, 25 watts. And go up top. Okay, sorry about the longest video. It tends to be my thing, right? So I have it the widest airflow holes reading at a 0.83, and we got the cotton. Don't know if you can just barely see, it's skirting the bottom of the deck, almost. And 25 seems just a little much. I'm gonna take it down to 20. Cotton should break in here shortly. Unlike the stainless steel mesh that was quenched using the same liquid I'm vaping, there really wasn't like a break-in. Let's see. Seems like it doesn't wick as quickly as the stainless was, but that could be because I have too much wick in there. Yep. It's expanded and it's super tight in the coil now. Yeah, with how I've worked this, I don't think I can really give it a fair shake. At least compared to how it was with the mesh. So let me get a little bit less wick in there, and then I'll give you a proper evaluation or assessment of it using cotton instead of mesh. All right, now I got the cotton in there looser and it's pulling and wicking right up as it should. Do-do-do. Get our airflow lined up. Pull open, 20 watts, 0.8. That's better. So I think I do like the cotton still does need to break in a little bit, but I think I like the mesh. Mesh, if you got the patience for mesh and could do a mesh builder, if you're a whiz at it, mesh is the way to go on this guy. But yeah, just keep in mind, it's not monster airflow at all. It's definitely a mouth-alone affair. And it's a very specific type of vape. I do hope they come up with a squonk pen, because having to pull off 2 caps to fill it up, even though it's easy to fill, those steps is, wish it was simplified. But yeah, my main comments for this would be a squonk pen, and either more airflow, or adding, making a cap option where you have that same, or this airflow, have one on each side, and then you could have airflow coming on, you know, both hitting both sides of that coil. So we'll see if I think that would be a nice progression or place for things to go. But as it is right now, you know, it is meant to be a mouth to lung Genesis Addy, and it does exactly that. And just like the majority of any other Genesis atomizers on the market, they don't have a squint, or don't have a squonk. No, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, there isn't. Genesis atomizers don't squonk. But and overall, really, I'm going to have to base this off of just the quality, and the type of vape it's giving is fantastic for what it is. It is a really good mouth to lung. It's a really good Genesis style tank. It's easy to build on. I know there's people way better than I am using mesh, but in the mesh that I did try with it, I mean, I think the flavor, the performance you're going to get is going to be the best of using mesh. So when we get down to the overall of it, going to be a 3.5, 4-ish out of 5 there. I think a squonk pin could be implemented in there. Yeah, I think that would be capable of doing of squonking. And then yeah, I'm always a fan of you know, of cap options. So if there happens to be an inner barrel that has 2-sided airflow and a cap that matches up with that, I hope he goes down that route too. But yeah, I am sorry for the long drawn out as usual. This one took a lot longer than I expected, because I decided, you know, I felt confident enough to do mesh, and then we saw how well that went. But thanks for hanging out, and till the next one.